In preparation for today, I've been thinking about something that I've learned after over 17 years in politics. And that is that when people imagine politics, they think about oak-paneled rooms, strategy, power, big speeches. But the truth is, after all these years, the most important lesson that politics has taught me has been a simple one. That the most of the decisions in life come down to a choice between fear and courage. That's it. Fear or courage. And when you start looking for it, you see that choice everywhere. You see it in government, you see it in communities, you see it in people's lives, and sometimes you see it in yourself. I did not grow up expecting to be in the New York State Senate. I did not grow up expecting to be here. My dad said the size of our town was twice the size of this auditorium. You actually could fit the town in this auditorium. There's more people here than were in our town. And, growing up back then, before social media, before any role models to look to in pop culture, I didn't know if I was going to survive. I didn't know if I wanted to survive. But I also learned something important during that time. When the world feels small, you have two choices. You can either shrink yourself to fit the world, or you can find the courage to build a bigger world. And for me, that bigger world was New York City. It was New York City. And like millions of people before me, over 400 years, I came here with a couple bags and a belief that in New York City, anything was possible. And boy, has New York proved me right. The city gave me community, it gave me purpose, and eventually it gave me the greatest gift I've ever received, which was the opportunity to serve the public. Over the years, I've knocked on thousands of doors. I've sat through more community meetings than I can count. And I've listened to people who were frustrated, hopeful, scared, proud, determined, and sometimes really pissed off. And if you spend enough time doing that, you start to realize something, that most people, they're not asking for miracles. They're asking for dignity. They want a roof over their head that they can afford. When they're sick, they want to be able to see a doctor. They want good schools and clean parks for their kids. They want a government that notices when something is broken and fixes it. But most of all, they want to know that someone cares, that someone gives a damn. And government at its best is simply the act of caring, about giving a damn about other people's lives. Am I right? But here's something else that politics teaches you. Fear is loud. Fear gets attention. Fear can win elections. But fear has never built a single home. Fear has never cleaned a park, opened a school, saved a life. Fear has never planted a tree. Fear only tears things down. And right now, across our country, there are people who we are seeing what the politics of fear looks like. We see leaders who divide us against one another, who traffic in misinformation, who undermine our democratic institutions. That kind of leadership is built on fear, and it's a powerful force, but it cannot build a just society. It cannot strengthen a democracy. It cannot move our country forward. But courage builds. Courage is building housing when people say it can't be done or shouldn't be done. Courage is standing up for mental health care when it's uncomfortable to talk about. It's protecting marginalized groups even when the politics are difficult. Courage is telling the truth about climate change when other people want to look away. Courage is about believing that government can still be a force for good. And another thing I've learned along the way, the loudest people in politics often talk about strength. But the strongest people I've met are not the loudest. They are the people who show up. The tenant who organizes their building, the teacher who stays up late helping a student, the parent who works 2 jobs to give their kids a better life, the small business owner who puts everything they have into a corner store, the community volunteer who waters trees on a Saturday morning. You can see I've got a thing about trees, if you haven't noticed. These are the people who actually hold society together, and they rarely get applause. But today, I want to thank them. I want to thank you, because democracy is not built by politicians. It's built by every one of you, every one of us. Now, I want to be honest with you. Politics is not always a lot of fun like this. There are days when it's really hard. There's days when progress seems impossibly slow. And there's days where it feels like the forces of fear are winning. But then something remarkable happens. A community rallies. A neighbor stands up for someone who's being treated unfairly. A young person decides to run for office, and suddenly the arc begins to build again. Because history is not written by the loudest voices. It's written by the people who refuse to give up. So as I begin this new chapter, serving as your state senator, I want to make a simple promise. I will show up. I will listen. I will fight for the dignity of every person who calls this district home, and I will always choose courage over fear. Because at the end of the day, courage is not about power. Politics is not about power. It's about people. It's about a kid growing up somewhere right now who feels like the world is too small for them. And it's about making sure that in New York City, they discovered what I discovered, that this city is big enough for all of our dreams, and that their life matters and anything is possible. Thank you so much. Thank you.